Occupational English Test. Practice Test 1. Listening Test. This test has 3 parts. In each part, you'll hear a number of different extracts. At the start of each extract, you'll hear this sound. You'll have the time to read the questions before you hear each extract, and you'll hear each extract once only. Complete your answers as you listen. At the end of the test, you'll have 2 minutes to check your answers. In this part of the test, you'll hear 2 different extracts. In each extract, a health professional is talking to a patient. For questions 1 to 24, complete the notes with the information you hear. Now, look at the notes for Extract 1. Extract 1. Questions 1 to 12. You hear a physiotherapist talking to a patient called Euan Hunt. For questions 1 to 12, complete the notes with the word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
Hi there, Mr. Hunt. It's good to see you again. Just to reassure you that I've received your file from Dr. Patel and her letter as well, okay?
Thank you. It's really good to see you too.
Oh, happy belated birthday for yesterday. Am I right in thinking you just celebrated your 60th?
Yes, thank you.
Did you do anything nice?
They made a huge fuss at the restaurant where I work. I kept telling them that I'm too old for all of that, but they weren't having it.
All right. What do you do?
I'm head chef of an Italian on Maple Street. We serve authentic cuisine. You should try it.
I might do just that. So, you've been referred to me to help you manage your condition, and it says here you've been experiencing quite a few symptoms, is that right?
That's right. I've got COPD, probably from all that lighting up I do all the time. I told Dr. Patel about the coughing already, but I suppose the main thing is that it happens a lot more now. Worse still, now I have phlegm too. It's quite disgusting, kind of yellow, green. You already know about the wheezing. That's probably the worst of the 3.
Well, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching, but you do know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Course I do. I've heard it all before. You're going to ask me to give up the facts. But it's not that easy, you know? I've been doing it since I was 16.
Why did you start, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I don't mind. Couple of lads on the estate reckoned it was the coolest thing since the advent of the wheel. Once they were doing it, everyone followed suit, so I guess you could say that I was peer-pressured into it, like. Haven't looked back since, really.
I understand. It says here that you attended sessions at the clinic. Didn't they help?
It wasn't sessions. I actually went to a special smoking cessation clinic in Finland for a bit. Cost a pretty penny too, but at the end of the day it didn't work.
Sorry to hear that. I'm trying to think of the best way to help you now. What's your day-to-day like?
Really, I'm mostly fine. I suppose that I do have one gripe. I get a bit breathless and I'm finding it hard to keep up my social life. I've always found the rush at work difficult, like when diners come in on the evenings and the weekend and everything in the kitchen is intense. But now, even when I'm lifting pans from one end of the kitchen to the other, it's tough. Also, I can't do the things I love anymore, like hiking. Used to go every weekend, but now I get breathless just thinking about it.
Mr. Patel has suggested I can prescribe you with an inhaler if you feel it would help. You can take it as and when you need.
That sounds good.
You'd need to take 1 to 2 puffs a day, as and when you feel the breathlessness coming along. You can't take any more than 4 puffs in any 24-hour period, okay?
Understood.
There's another thing I've been asked to talk to you about. There's a procedure that you could try called endobronchial valve insertion. You've been identified as a potential for it.
Endo what? I can't even say it. What's that?
It's a relatively risk-free procedure to insert a tiny valve into your lungs.
I think I'll pass on that one if you don't mind. You hear all kinds of horror stories of people dying on the OR table these days, especially now that our hospitals are so stretched for staff.
Not a problem. The other thing I suppose is just to echo Dr. Patel's advice about weight loss to you. Happy to show you a few exercises that I think you'll enjoy as much as you did your other activities. Then I guess we can pick up again in 2 weeks' time, see how you're...
Extract 2, questions 13 to 24. You hear a nurse talking to a patient, Shauna Burke. 4 questions 13 to 24. Complete the notes with a word or short phrase. You now have 30 seconds to look at the notes.
So, I've been told that you're particularly worried about your general health of late, mainly because of your job. Is that correct?
Yes, it is, Doctor. I'm 28, and as a model, that's practically near retirement. It's so important for me to look my best for shoots and commercials, but I've been noticing weird things happening on my face that I thought I'd get checked out.
When you say weird things, what do you mean?
Like this, these dark shadows on my eyes, especially on the lid. It's really wearing me out. I've been feeling this way, this extreme tiredness, for as long as I can remember now, and it's not just my mood. I've lost a lot of weight recently too. I know what you're thinking, it's every model's dream.
No, I wasn't thinking that.
A lot of women would give me a slap if they knew I was having a moan over losing 20 kilos in a month without even trying. But you know what? I'd give my right arm to go back to my normal look. Fresh-faced, bright eyes. Right now, I look a right state.
I don't think that at all, Miss Burke, but I would like to investigate this for you. It's possible that you've come down with something, and I'd like to give you some treatment and get you back to your normal self, okay?
Thank you.
Would you tell me when you started noticing these symptoms?
I really don't know. I've been working a lot lately. Been booking a lot of domestic work in London and sometimes overseas too. When I got back from France last month, on or around the 11th I think, I just found my day-to-day just that much harder. For example, I usually love the hustle and bustle of my job, the last-minute calls, the late nights, and the constant after-parties. I just jump in the Merc and away I go. But recently I've been finding it super tough to drive. I thought maybe it's because I'm on the other side now, but it's more than that. When I'm behind the wheel, I feel a little spaced out, like disoriented, not knowing where I'm going or how I'm going to get there. You're looking at me like I've grown another head. I must sound so silly.
Not at all. I'm just thinking about what you've told me, how best I can help. Do you know if anyone in your family has been through anything like this?
Not that I know of.
Okay, you mentioned that your job can be very social. Do you smoke or drink?
I don't smoke, and I only drink when I'm out with people I know and trust. There are way too many scary stories of handsy photographers for me to get plastered with people I don't know.
Sounds like you've got a really good head on your shoulders there. Now, Miss Burke, I have to ask, because there's no indication on your personal medical history either way, but because you mentioned drastic recent weight loss, would you tell me about your diet?
Sure. I eat pretty well, if that's what you're wondering. I'm vegan, and so my diet is pretty healthy. I will occasionally eat out at a Frankie and Benny's, for example, but you wouldn't catch me dead at a McDonald's. I've managed to stay off junk food since I was very little. I used to be bulimic when I was 14, but after the counselling, everything is okay, and I've had what I think is a really healthy attitude to food.
I'm glad to hear that.
So, any idea what's wrong with me, Doc?
We'll need to run some tests to confirm things, Miss Burke. I don't want to say anything that I'm not sure of. We'll run a blood test today, and I'll call you in for others within the week, after we've received the results. In the meantime, I'm worried that you're not getting enough sleep. Do you think you could set up and stick to a routine?
Like a sleep schedule? Yes, I've done that before and it actually worked.
I'm glad to hear that. At least that would help you get some well-earned rest while we're trying to get to the bottom of all of this.
That is the end of Part A.